We've not had any public participation. How does it also touch on the Constitution? Because this is a whole restructuring. And is there a need, maybe, because we've been saying Nairobi has been, for the longest time, in the news. We had the NMS, where we have the pending bills also from that particular development that has never been cleared so far. The question of Nairobi being a county, can it be revisited so that it can be, just a capital city? Right, let's begin with you, Okongo Mogini.
Yeah, thank you, Dibal. The issue whether Nairobi should be a metropolitan city and not a county has been a long debate.
It's been, yeah, let's not start off from there.
But
yes.
I thought that's the easier one. Because if you asked me, I think if we look at what happens in other jurisdictions, maybe that's the easier thing to do. Because most countries that are federal, like if you go to Australia, they have the Australian Capital Territory. Yeah. That's where the government sits in Canberra. And Canberra is not a state in Australia. You go to Washington, Washington is not a state. Maybe if we really think that we need to support Nairobi as a metropolis, maybe the easier thing to do is to bite the bullet, do a referendum, and make the capital city a metropolis. Then we create a structure of picking the CEO of the metropolis instead of what we are seeing. Coming back to the agreement, I don't know whether we are seeing the executive passing a vote of no confidence on the governor, so to speak, because the agreement seems to be taking away key functions from the desk of Governor Sakaja and handing it over to this new entity, including what I thought could be a mundane task like garbage collection, lighting the city. And I thought when you come to lighting the city, there's also support from World Bank on the FLOCA funding project, which is a partnership between the national government and all the 47 counties directly, without the involvement of the national government. Really, if you can't repair roads in a city, then what can be your scorecard in the next 5 years? If you cannot, as a governor, ensure that the city is clean, then it means that you are failing in your duties. So with all these functions being taken away, maybe the only job that Governor Sakaja can do and go to the people as a scorecard in 2027 is maybe provision of health services. But it's a trend, Dibal, that I think we should be discouraging. If you have a CEO that is in charge of a city, give them enough resources when we are doing the shareable revenue, and then you allow him to perform his functions. In the next 5 years, Kenyans, I mean, the residents of that county can pass a verdict. Finally, as I heard you say, I don't know why you leave the county assembly in this, because I've not seen that agreement being debated by the assembly. We didn't see a meaningful, I'm choosing my word carefully because that's the word the courts have used. We didn't see a meaningful public participation, asking the people to present their views, to either improve the proposal or to reject it. Okay, so it means that we have put the people, the views of the people aside, and had a dealing between the executive and the governor of Nairobi. I think those two issues raise some constitutional challenges as to whether a court of law will endorse that agreement. Right,
and of course, Beatrice Elachi, you've been, once a speaker of the County Assembly of Nairobi, so you're privy to, some of these issues that we're talking about. I just want to ask you, just looking at it and what Okongo Mogini is raising, has there been, an exceeding of, appropriate propriety, so to speak? Have they exceeded these bounds? Should they also have had brought this issue before the county assembly for debating?
See now, Dibal, first of all, I think the same constitution allows any county to collaborate and work with national government. Now this Nairobi we keep on talking about, thinking is like these counties that we have, we should stop. When I was the Speaker of Nairobi, and I wish the Senate, even at that time, I wonder whether they have ever picked the first regeneration committee that was formed before even Sonko handing over functions, and looked at the structure and asked themselves whether that was right, or it helps a county that is unique like Nairobi, where you are dealing with many issues and it's a capital city at the same time that needs to move. That would have helped them even to put in their standing orders to understand that, look, when a county reaches at this point, and this is not the only county, how I wish even us, the mistake we did when I was a senator, is when we finished with Makueni, we never picked the issues that Kivuda Kibwana then raised when he had an issue with the county assembly. So that one went like that. Now we came to Nairobi, we realized there was a committee that was to be formed so that you are able to bring in these services. And you know, the constitution also says, if the collaboration will bring efficient services to the citizens, then it is in law okay. But then look at Nairobi. Nairobi, by the time I was leaving, we had first done the regeneration with Balala, if you remember very well. And I can see this is the same route that they've taken. And in fact, this process started 3 years ago. And you remember there was a time garbage just came and we kept on, and the president kept on saying, I'm working with the county to come up with a better way of collecting this garbage. Then Sakaja decided, the governor decided, let me take some resources to Kura, even before all this has happened. Kura has been having their money so that they help them to do the many roads you've been seeing in Kilimani with a lot of issues. Of late you've seen, some of them now have been carpeted. It is money for the county, but Sakaja felt, let me give it to Kura, because now Kura has the capacity. But then you come in and we had NMS. In NMS, how I wish again the Senate picked that and said the national government took functions. And in these functions, we had a human resource, which were the people of the county who worked for the county, and the resources that went to build Nairobi. In that, you were left with another debt of 16 billion. Yet you had other debts that this governor, not Sakaja, another one, had. So you put them together, you find yourself in a crisis of big crisis. You're supposed to pay people who every day are on your neck, but at the same time, we went and developed now new things. We brought in 25 new hospitals, level 4, in this city. They need staff, they put in everything, but you forgot you have the same resources Senate gives you, and you must sustain all these things to work. We move on. At that time, they did roads, half roads were left halfway. Everything was just left haphazardly, especially in the slum areas, which is gone. Because when rain came, they had done them with Cabro and all that. The rain just swept all these things away, So you have to rethink again. But for me, the most important thing is that for now, as I look at it, I will tell you, there is no function that has transferred. What they have done, they've gone back to the same framework they did regeneration of Nairobi. That's what they are using.
So they've picked the same Balala template?
Yes,
and
that's what they've picked.
Yeah, and just repurpose it now for the county.
Exactly, right? And put in the same committees that worked during regeneration. And you need to go and look at that structure and look at this, and you'll find it's the same. But then the question now comes. It is something that all of us must ask ourselves. If a governor of Nairobi, do we think of Nairobi beyond a county? Do we make it work better if it... I've always said, even if it is who or who, even if you bring the best in this Nairobi, you will have to work with the national government. You do not have resources to kill this Nairobi. First of all, you will have to make sure you deal with your people who are the ones who decide what should happen in Nairobi.
Thank you.
And I want to give you an example today. Markets. You see markets, people talk about markets, yeah? Markets in Nairobi have their own management. They never give resources to the county. But the county has to collect garbage. Because they never pay through that thing they say, oh, M-Pesa, CG what. Never. You go to any market in Nairobi, you'll find a management is running the market. So, but you want services from the same county, but there's nothing you give. And so these are many things that, and they have been there for a while.
Thank you.
So you have to sort it out before even you think. So for me, if this will bring, I've seen it has brought more money. So if it will bring more money for Nairobi, but deliver services from Nairobi, then that is what Nairobians want.
Okay.
Services.
Thank you, thank you.
Services.
Thank you. Let's hear from Bernard Kitur, because it appears the government also is functioning at the dysfunction of the Nairobi County. So we are learning from history. We are learning from the Balala Committee, NMS as well. It seems at some point there is an issue of, I don't know if, as you mentioned, is the issue of funds or is the issue of just governance, leadership within this particular city as well. Even when we didn't have any crippling factors like money, we still had an issue with some of the leadership that we had within the city.
Thank you very much, Dibal. And again, good evening, and even to the viewers. Great opportunity to be back again after almost a month. I think viewers and everyone need, first of all, understand the foundation of this. And when you look at the Constitution, Article 189, the second part says, government at each level and different governments at the county level shall cooperate in the performance of functions and exercise powers, and for that purpose may set up joint committees and joint authorities. And that sets, and of course it goes on to explain that in case of any disputes or matters that arises, there shall be some legislation that will be done by the national government. So, and as rightly put by my colleague, this had happened before, but it wasn't successful. So first of all, foundationally, what was being done by the county government of Nairobi and the national government is well right in our constitution. Secondly, is that when you look at several projects that the national government in Kenya, of Kenya Kwanza, or the broad-based now, all the programs that had been tried by several other governments in the past, and they failed, whether you want to talk about the housing thing, whether you want to talk about the universal, health coverage, and those kinds of things. This government has been able to set up all those, and it has worked well. So I think Nairobi County, for sure, this is the capital, having 4.4 million Kenyans, is quite a unique county in comparative with the other counties. And of course, we are positioning Nairobi to be one of those cities globally that when you come here, it's on that stage, where the president has branded it as the Singapore of the future. So we need to be able to work together with the county government. I like the way, Honorable Member here has really explained so well the challenges that were and that are existing, that there is no way that the county government can work by itself as is. When you look at that cooperation agreement, we are bringing in 80 billion shillings. It's going to capture literally every sector within the county government to support working with the national government. It is going to drive the same agenda the president has been talking about elevating Kenya into, the Singapore status. Look at the Nairobi Regeneration Program. For instance, look at that. Whoever believed that, when the commission was set up way earlier, explaining the big dream of how they will clean Nairobi, and they've done a fantastic job. I can tell you, the same way several of those programs have been done by government, that many Kenyans, even ourselves, may not have believed that they are going to be successful, is what now the president is looking at changing this city for the greater good of all of us. So I think it is important that we all support it. And when I look at the composition of all the persons that have been spoken into, these are all persons that I feel, if in accordance to that section that Article 189, subsection 2, as you've seen, we are within the Constitution. If the entire team works, then the future is surely bright for Nairobi.
All right, Senior Counsel, I just wanted to ask you, now we got a tidy amount of money, an eye-popping figure of 80 billion shillings that we're talking about, and you've raised queries regarding also pending bills. First of all, I don't know how that can be handled. We have Nairobi County notoriously also accused of hiring some of the finest lawyers in the city, you know. If you look just the money that is going to the legal services, it is a shame, and we do not really know the rhyme and reason of these legal services as well. And they do have, you know, I think lawyers also, a good amount of lawyers in Nairobi County. Would you just kindly talk to us and let us know, is this 80, we don't know how it has been budgeted, but why will the 80 billion, will they also clear the NMS?
How much did the president spend on the election petition? How much were the lawyers paid? So it's not just counties that spend a lot of money on legal fees. Legal fees, legal services can be expensive, not just in Kenya. But
I hope you're not speaking from a confirmation bias because you're
no, I'm not biased.
Yes.
All I'm saying is, don't point, just don't point fingers at Nairobi County. I've worked in government. If you remember when we were dealing with the
Council, I mean, it is the reality that we've had this, and it has been in.
You know, I look at these reports. Yeah. By the way, it's not just lawyers who get paid to do work for counties. Ask the county government of Nairobi, how much did they pay to the professional valuers who prepare the evaluation roll? You find it's several millions of shillings, 230 plus. So all the people who provide, ask the county government of Narok, how much did they pay for the valuers who value their assets? There are so many professionals who are being paid, and the way I look at it myself, there is nothing wrong if you have people who are giving quality service to a government entity and they get paid for it. We want to create employment. The last time we looked at the lawyer who did, you know, the medical equipment contract between the government and the supplier, a law firm, I'm sorry to name them here, called Iseme Kamau, Maema Advocates. You know, they appeared before the Senate and they told us they employ 57 Kenyans. So if you have somebody who is being a source of employment for some Kenyans and they are being paid some fees, I think what we should be underlining, to provide some quality service to that account, that's not a problem. So personally, I don't have an issue. Maybe the doctor, maybe a valuer, maybe a surveyor, any professional is doing good work and is paid for it, as long as it's reasonable, that is okay. We have law firms abroad who employ over 5,000 people. That's what we want. Where are you going to employ? Who is going to provide employment for our youths if we don't allow our professionals to open businesses that will grow and absorb not just professionals, but also other cadre of employees, clerks, secretaries, messengers, drivers, etc. So it's a source of employment, and we shouldn't, if you close all law firms, you also be creating another crisis of Kenyans losing employment. So we must look at it from a balanced point of view.
No, it's not a matter of Kenya losing employment. We're just asking, even these figures that they are charged for the legal services, are they justifiable?
I mean, there is
of course,
you know, there is a statute that governs all these professionals. If you are a valuer, you will know it is 2%. If today I go to, if I need to take a bank loan, I'll be told the person who will come to value my property will charge me 10%. And I will not climb to the rooftop and complain that valuers are expensive. That's their fee. I'll pay. If I'm charging my property, the bank will tell me our lawyers will do this work for you, and they will charge you for that service. What do? You must pay. So I think if there is somebody providing service, provided it's not a scheme to siphon money from a county, I see nothing wrong with that.
But why would you secure, let me come to a large, why would you secure?
So did you allow me to answer you?
No, but because
you know you're driving me off before I even answer.
Because we need to go on a short break.
I don't know. You know, they say everybody hates lawyers. Dibal included.
Dibal.
But there is a point that was made here, and I'm just wondering, if you tell us that Nairobi is lacking when you make reference to Nairobi, I hope you are saying Nairobi County.
Yes, certainly, of course.
Does not have adequate resources, okay? And you say for them to be able to deliver, and these are services that are needed by all other counties. If they need to do roads, do lighting, do garbage collection, we give them 80 billion more. What happens to Mombasa? What happens to Nakuru? What happens to Kisumu? Because those are also cities. What happens to our counties where we come from? What happens to Nyamira, etc., etc.? Why can't you give adequate resources to counties, Dibal, during the budget making process when we are doing the equitable, shareable division? You give counties enough money to enable them provide all these services you are telling us. And you know, if we were to talk about equity, Nairobi gets the largest amount of allocation, 21.5 billion. They collect the highest amount on source revenue, 13.5 billion. Okay? But I've never seen a garbage collection truck from Nairobi City County coming to collect garbage from where I live. The roads are maintained, I think, by the local associations. You go to many establishments, including, I'm told, in Livi suburbs like Nairobi. So why can't we first audit the services, the functions of counties, and then give resources that can adequately support the functions of our counties? Instead of saying today we have a sympathetic president maybe, who is saying I'm giving Nairobi 80 billion. If tomorrow you get a president who is not philanthropic like the current president, what happens? I think let's fix problems by getting long-term solutions. We have been arguing that we have never done a proper audit on the resources that follow functions to the counties. There are a lot of money remains in central government to provide policy issues, but functions that are supposed to be funded are not funded. Now, imagine if what is being done is scientific. It means that you are denying Nairobi 80 billion of the money that they deserve to provide functions that are allowed by the Constitution, that are devolved, okay? You are saying for you to be able to provide these functions adequately, we're adding you 80 billion. All they were given was 21.5. What then could be the situation in the other cities, the other urban centers that have not gotten that financial support? Aren't you breaking the Constitution in Article 27 by discriminating these others? You are saying you want Nairobi to shine. I heard the Prime Cabinet Secretary saying, we want Nairobi to shine, to show an example. Why are you leaving others behind? Picking Nairobi, giving them a lot of resources, 80 billion, and leaving other cities behind. What is the intent of this government? That others should lag behind? We only have one city called Nairobi. We only have one.
But how much do we generate also as Nairobi to the GDP?
I mean, I was coming there now. Okay. I was coming there.
You know, Dibal.
We need to take a short break. We need to take a short break.
But my two colleagues participated in a formula that was developed by the Senate on how we share revenue. We passed it in the Senate. We sent it to them. They passed it. Okay? If there are issues on that formula, if they wanted us to tweak the formula to favor Nairobi, there are that opportunity.
No, we don't even need you to tweak.
Okay.
As real Nairobians, you must appreciate we remove revenue here and we send to all the counties. Let us first agree on that. What we should be asking ourselves without having a fight between anything is, for sure, for 15 years, what we should be auditing is whether indeed we did the right thing to have counties, and does the money that goes to county, leave the one for national government. You remember the Constitution was to, we assumed that in 15 years, we shall have one county that can say, we are done, we can survive without the national government. We have none. In fact, if you disappear 1 month, we start closing counties. That is something also all of us in Senate and National Assembly, we should be thinking through and auditing and asking ourselves, then what happens if we are, in 15 years, we're still in the same scenario? We never even tried to say, let the counties have a similarity so that Kenya is one. Everyone just does their things. And most of them, you will find, never even improve. Even when you thought that this money will improve lives, you can see to date. We were speaking today about drought in Mandera, which is a disaster, yes, but has always been there in the northern frontier. Really, if the governors would just say, I would rather have this function and work properly on this function to safeguard my people, what is wrong with that? But let's come back to Nairobi. So we are talking about lawyers. Yes. So this is what happens in Nairobi, Dibal. And I'll tell you, I don't want to name them here because I went to court myself as speaker.
Please.
And asked the court to review most of the resources they had said, and don't forget, you have lost the case, first of all, but somebody is asking you to pay 1 billion shillings.
Wow.
But the county lost the case. In fact, you've never won even one case. But you have, each is your amount of monies that you are requesting the counties now to pay you. Also, just that ethical is what I never... And when I went to court, from 1 billion, I remained with 800 million. I paid less. Because when you look at the case, even the judge is wondering, why? So those are some of the things we are saying. It is not right. This is your city. When you openly use a plain paper to just take, because I won't even say stealing. It's just like taking. And you won't even care what will happen next. And that is the biggest challenge, not just Nairobi, many of these counties face. That people assume this is a place where, and that's why somebody can find himself decide to resign from national government to come to county. Why? Those days we used to want to go to national governments. Now people resign there to come here. Why? Because it's the easiest way to collect money without caring about the country, about the county, about anything. So let us not defend it when we know there are things we are doing wrong.
So
but at the
in
same
collecting
time,
money, you meaning thievery or something? Why don't you want just to call it what it is, first of all?
It is just what you have said. But then at the
it's
same
so hard
time,
to trip off your tongue.
It's because sometimes it was very painful, by the way. By the way, if you are a Kenyan and you are working and you want to see a few things work, I tell you, you will resign and leave the county.
Yeah.
You will feel a bit disappointed and say, before I find myself in all this, let me just leave. And people will think you are very foolish, you are very what. But let me tell you, for me, and I want to repeat, it does not mean that the president is decided, why Nairobi, why the rest? The rest can also come. See, the Constitution allows. It allows that if you feel this function is a function that you need cooperation and support by the national government, you write to the national government and you cooperate. So I want to repeat and say, any governor who comes to Nairobi, and you will tell me you are coming to do us better. No, because Nairobians, every governor who comes, they believe, I'm coming for 5 years, I'll pick the money, after all I'll leave, I'll go, I'll do this. We need, first of all, as Nairobians, to put one on check, give them 10. While you finish, head to jail is when we will wake up in this Nairobi. And
Thank
also
you.
in Nairobi, you don't need to smile. This, you talk. You will find yourself gone with people who do not care about the city.
Thank you.
And anyone who screams in Nairobi today that, this one is not working, just know there is a pending bill, and that pending bill you have never been paid. That's the only thing we go for. We don't, and in fact, let me first of all thank Sakaja. He's the only governor for the first time who has made the Nairobians, the real Nairobian voters who vote for Nairobi, to at least have their children even have. I pay 5 shillings for my child to eat. That's the only money since we started this devolution that I can tell you, mwananchi wa chini kabisa wa Kawangware ameona ya county.
Thank you. All right, ameona ya county, but also we need to answer the question why we are hiring 44 law firms.
Theft.
Why 44 law firms?
Theft.
Truly.
theft.
And most
Nothing
of them,
more.
they don't win these cases.
Yes.
Just as we're
No
looking
case
at-
is won. No case.
You know, Dibal, when I heard you asking Senator Eric here about, that is his trade, that is his profession, and you definitely expect him to protect even that which is too obvious for everyone to know that for the law firms, the many of them, every Kenyan knows that is the best way you can. It's actually thievery, thuggery, use whatever term. She was the
Hewa.
speaker.
In fact, the word is hewa.
Hewa, yes. They sell hewa
Unalipa
services,
hewa.
right?
Yeah.
So I think those are the kind of things that they need to be reined on. And I really wondered when I had Senator as well trying to talk as if the relationship now that has been built, when the national government sees that they can work with the county government for the greater good of the Nairobian. I wanted to inform him, he was trying to talk about and say there are other cities as well. I want to tell him, this is the capital city. And in all those functions that you've had today, Dibal, all of them, whether it's the roads, whether it's the security, it is to elevate Nairobi to the level where it actually ought to be. I used to hear, was it the city in the sun or something like that?
Yes.
You know? To elevate this city, there must be a cooperation. There is no two way about it. And as I said before, the same way Uhuru government tried with the NMS and it didn't work, the same way they tried, in the other regimes. This one of the President William Ruto, he has always demonstrated in anything that he does, I can tell you for a fact, this is going to succeed. And I want Senator Eric Mogeni to watch this space, because they are the kind of leaders that have been opposing everything that is meant for the good in this government. And over time, today you will hear him talking that story. They were the same people who spoke about share, so negative, so badly, housing project, and all those kinds of things. This is the same people now, because they don't have, and today I heard his voice is a bit low, because it's usually very vibrant. It is because when I was even expecting when I was coming that he'll be very tough on the issue of the law and those kinds of things. Today, he looks very deflated.
Yeah,
because he knows.
he's very timid today.
Yeah, because first of all, we are within the law.
Just
This is not the senator that we are. So this project,
He doesn't have the constitution ahead of him. Yeah, I forgot.
no, he always has the constitution in his head. He usually carry it in the books, And so this program, and I would really tell Kenyans, without blinking an eye, as long as the president of Kenya has set his eyes on it, and there is the support of Governor Sakaja, and of course all of us. And when I looked, as I said again, the way it has been structured within the law and comprehensively, I want to tell Kenyans, this is what you should expect in the next few years. Just as you're seeing what is happening in the Nairobi regeneration. By the way, you've never seen the entirety of that program. Looking at most of us Kenyans and most of us Nairobians, most of us that are in this city, never believed that very dirty Nairobi river would slow but sure, change. What is happening and continuously going to happen in the next few years will amaze every Kenyan. Now, the same thing, this cooperation, the result will be something unbelievable.
All right, we want to take a short break. When we circle back, I think we wind up on this particular topic as we answer the question, what also Senator Okongo Mogeni was raising. Should we uncouple it from being, one of the counties and making it a metropolis? Will that also maybe bring a distinctive difference on running the affairs of the Nairobi County, and also maybe also getting a lot of revenue coming from the county as well? We'll take a short break. Don't go away.